Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, Birmingham's Hospital Radio Network. And this is where we have a review of the weekend's action. Well, it's a review blending in with a preview, which we'll explain a little bit later on. Joining me, Ben Ellis, some of our marvellous BHBN Sports team have been covering some great action over the weekend. Kim Smith is with us. So is Paddy Sugg and Jonathan Wimbush, and Enton Barefoot will be joining us any moment now. We'll get on to our local teams in just a moment, but I want to do this now because we'll forget otherwise and we'll be cramming it all in. We're recording this on a Sunday evening, literally minutes after it finished at Anfield. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 2. Now, this game will now be forever talked about, the disallowed goal and red card at the end for Dominic Szoboszlai, when Liverpool were trying to get back into the game. The City go on the counter-attack. Erling Haaland eventually gets the ball into the net and it trickles over the line, but he's been pulled back by Dominic Szoboszlai in the move. And a mad scramble around VAR comes, and they end up with the decision that they're not going to allow the goal. They're going to give a free kick to Manchester City on the edge of the box and send Dominic Szoboszlai off for denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity. And I've had enough of this. Not so much VAR. I think the technology is great, and it's there to be used, and it's there to enhance the enjoyment and the knowledge of all of us who are watching it. The problem is, it's the people who are operating it that is the problem. I'll come to the conclusion. I'll come to Paddy for this first. No, I'll come to Enton actually, because Enton's just joined us as a Liverpool fan. They would rather, Enton, not give a goal so they can send a player off.
Yeah, well, the only thing they've done is they've gone by the rule book, haven't they? They've gone what the rule says. As Haaland has impeded, as the first infraction has then superseded the fact that then Haaland's then he's fouled Szoboszlai. So they've just gone with the letter of the law, and it just stinks a little bit, doesn't it? So.
Can you not just do both? Can you give the goal and then go to Szoboszlai? Look, just because the goal scoring opportunity you tried to deny didn't happen, they scored a goal. That was still your attempt. I mean, it's extremes, but you still go to life for attempted murder, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
nailed it.
Yeah. So they could have given the goal, which people pay a lot of money to see goals scored. Nobody's going to talk about Dominic Szoboszlai scoring one of the great free kicks, which he did in that game, which was absolutely tremendous. It's just that there's nearly 60,000 people there. There's a worldwide television audience. We've got two of the top teams in the Premier League over the past 4 or 5 years, and there's 5 blokes who want to get in on the action, and that's what it is for me. Jonathan Wimbush, quickly, your view on this.
Well, it killed the spirit of the moment, killed the the spirit of the game as well, because that's all it will be remembered for, not for the goals themselves and how Man City have managed to come from behind to win at Anfield for the first time since the COVID year, the COVID season. So yeah, it's been a real killjoy, as the commentators on the TV said, and it's a bit of a sickener. It's one of those decisions where it doesn't really benefit either team. You know, of course, the goal's disallowed for Man City, but then the player's sent off for Liverpool. So it's one of those where, yes, you follow the rules, but come on, it's the spirit of the game. Let the goal stand.
It's like the last seconds of the game. Paddy, I'll come to you with this. Let's, if we could go back in a time machine, 60 years, and implement the technology now that we didn't have then. Goal line technology would say whether or not the ball crossed the line in the World Cup final, and VAR would say there were people on the pitch as Jeff Hurst was running through. Those two goals aren't going to stand. You might have had a different outcome in terms of a World Cup.
I agree totally. Without VAR and all technology, that would have just, totally gone the opposite way, Ben. But unfortunately, we are where we are, aren't we, with goal line technology and the technology we have today, and that's how it is. And as Anton said, that's the rule, and that's you can't do any more than that. But I know what you said about killing. John's right about killing the spirit of the game. It stops and starts, and we shouldn't do that. But I saw a clip last night from Man United against Spurs where I can't remember who was in goal now, Northern Ireland keeper, and it went over the line. You could see
I
it went over
remember
the
that.
line.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah, I
that? And
remember
that's a travesty, isn't it? So, I'm glad goal line technology, but I know
That was Roy,
VAR's
Roy Carroll, wasn't
VAR's
it?
coming.
Was it
Roy
Roy
Carroll.
Sorry?
Carroll?
Yeah, Roy
Carroll.
Carroll.
Roy Carroll, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel you got to feel for people. You're the opposite fans, haven't you? So as like Anton said, it's the rule, and thank goodness. I think.
But it's kept the title race alive,
Yeah.
and it's somebody's to lose, isn't it, Jonathan Wimbush? Still,
Well,
well,
I'll tell
it's
you what, Ben.
not.
I still wanted Villa.
It's not.
I wanted Villa to be in this title race. I still feel it for Midlands football, but I know I'm struggling with that one now.
We'll get to that a bit later. We're actually gonna start with the championship because, and we'll get to Birmingham City in just a moment. But our live coverage on BHPN was from the Hawthorns, a 0-0 draw between West Bromwich Albion and Stoke City. And we described it during the show on Saturday afternoon as lots of endeavour, but very little quality. Jonathan Wimbush was there, but from a West Brom fan point of view, John, with what they've gone through in the last few weeks, the nature of the games that they've been losing, was this, even though it was a home game, was this acceptable? Was this more tolerable from West Brom?
well, from a fan's perspective, it was a lot more tolerable than losing 5-0 at home to Norwich or losing 3-0 away to Portsmouth. But it is still, and we said this in commentary, myself and Ed Mackay, it's still lacking that little bit of quality to actually go ahead and win the game because, no offense to Stoke City or West Bromwich Albion, it was just two very poor teams, both of them out of form at the moment. And it was just like it was just like them two going at it. No one wanted the ball. It was like seeing a game of hot potato at one point where Albion would give it to Stoke, Stoke would give it back to Albion, Albion would then give it back to Stoke, and it was ridiculous at times. But it's a 0-0 draw, and Eric Ramsey did say in his post-match press conference he'd rather draw 0-0 with a performance like that, a determined performance, than losing 3-0 and not turning up. So I don't know quite how he's working that out, because from a fan's perspective, of course, you want your team to win no matter what the performance is. But that was a bit of a weird one for me, listening to how he rather would draw 0-0 than lose 3-0 and not turn up. So yeah.
Don't knock Hot
Very
Potato
strange
as a
comment.
game, though. Hot Potato is a great game. I'm running a campaign to get it into the Olympics, actually, Hot Potato. So we'll have to wait and see how we get along with that one. He made a lot of changes for this, Eric Ramsey. And it just came across to me, and say you guys were there. I was only in the studio along with Enton. He's still scratching around looking for any kind of idea, and it's probably not his fault given the situation that he's found himself in, but he's still scratching around trying to find out what his best 11 is.
No, of course. And, there was, as you said, a lot of changes. Of course, Jimo Abola has come in to the side, and he did fairly well, to be
Glad to
honest.
hear it.
Daryl DK, his first start in quite some time as well. And a few changes around the back as well, with Chris Mepham coming back in, and of course Max O'Leary in goal as well. He's now not just on the back of his shirt, but I think he's now the preferred number one. And yeah, it was a change of formation as well. I think he played four at the back, and then I think it was like a 4-2-3-1 instead of like five defenders and trying to work out where everyone else goes. So it was a little bit better than than the previous defeats to, say, Norwich and Portsmouth, but we're still looking for that elusive win under Eric Ramsey.
And Chris Mepham going off with what looked like quite a serious hamstring injury.
Yeah, it happened right in front of our commentary position, and as soon as he put his hand down to his leg, both myself and Ed agreed it was the hamstring, and that's going to be quite some time on the injury list. So we've got the likes of Alfie Gilchrist to come in and Charlie Taylor to replace Chris Mepham, but the last thing we need right now, especially with the likes of Carlin Grant on the injury list as well, is more injuries, especially to a key role like a central defender.
On the whole, though, not a bad day, though. West Brom not losing. Obviously, you take the kind of positives that you can get, but it's Blackburn losing 2-0 at Norwich. Oxford losing as well. I was looking at this as well. I mean, obviously, Sheffield Wednesday are long gone. But Sheffield Wednesday are 39 points from safety with 15 games to go. So effectively, if they lose the next two in the Championship, they will be relegated. And in 2 games' time, they are away at Sheffield United. So if you are having a bad enough time as it is with minus points and you could get relegated in February against the team you hate more than any other in the world. I mean, Enton, that's I mean, Wednesday fans were rejoicing when they changed the owner, but I mean, seems a fate worse than death, doesn't it?
Well, can you imagine turning up,
Oh,
just turning up, and you know that you're on the way down, and Sheffield United are at the top, and you've got to try and put a performance in just to make it credible, because
absolutely.
it could end
Yeah.
up being. And Sheffield United, as much as I've got my doubt, my opinions on Chris Wilder, but they could score a cricket score.
Yeah,
Because they are a team that's in form. So
yeah, even an England cricket score. Another favour was done for West Brom by Birmingham City, who beats Leicester at St Andrews by 2-1. Obviously, Leicester being docked 6 points, meaning they started the day level on points with Albion. So Albion now go above Leicester. Kim Smith was there along with Connor Porter on Saturday afternoon. Not routine by any stretch of the imagination, Kim, but a victory all the same. Obviously, the red card in the first half of Bobby Decordova-Reid played its part, but they got the job done.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Leicester's position doesn't really account for the fact they've actually still got a bunch of good attacking players. It's at the back there. Sorry, there's a cat fight going on. I hope it's not.
Turn the camera. We'll have a look.
the camera, have a look. Yeah,
let's have a look. Let's see.
I can sympathise with Kim. I've got to be honest with you. I know the score.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope that isn't a reflection of what's to come next week.
Wow.
But yeah, Leicester have still got a bunch of good attacking players, but at the back, they're poor, as we saw from certainly the first goal that they conceded from a horrible mistake. And then also a couple of minutes after that, and of course we weren't the live game, but Begovic had been put back in goal. And at one point, he just sort of side-footed the ball and it went behind for a corner. He was under no pressure at all. And of course, it was just an open invitation for Blues to keep putting pressure on Leicester. And certainly, as the first half wore on, they had corner after corner after corner. And okay, yeah, Fatawu got the equaliser, and as usual, because he scored against us several times, and he always manages to score a worldie, a wonderful left footer. But of course, with 10 players, you are going to tire eventually. And Marvin Duksh opened it up for Jay Stansfield to score for his first time in, I think, 14 games, which I think was a great relief to him.
I had mentioned previously, and it might have come across as a bit of an unfair criticism. I'll come to Paddy Silk on this because he sees plenty of Blues as well. I've just felt that for the money they paid for Jay Stansfield, Paddy, In relative terms, it's like mega bucks in terms of when they bought him at the back end of a season in League One. In Premier League terms, that'd be in the 70, 80 million kind of range for the, in relative terms. Would it have been fair to expect more of a return from Jay Stansfield? I mean, he's had his issues with injury, but he's not been prolific. But he took his goal well against Leicester.
Yeah, and I thought, that's a great. When I saw the winner, I thought great relief for Birmingham fans, Kim as well. I suppose being a Blues fan, I'm a converted sort of Blues fan. I shouldn't say I'm a Midlands football, but I'm so pleased that Jay got that, and he works hard every game for Blues. He does. He gives his whole heart for Blues, and I was so chuffed as Kim. That's a good stat. I didn't realise that stat had been the fact that he hadn't scored for so many games, and that might spur him on now, especially with the Leeds FA Cup tie coming up next week and the Albion game on Tuesday. So I feel that Jay will go on from this, because what it's like when you get a goal and your confidence drops. So I know he should get more return, Ben, but I just think it's been difficult for him. I think he's had an injury to deal with, I think, hasn't he, as well? So I wouldn't worry too much about Jay Stansfield, gotta be honest with you.
Okay. The one thing, well, two things I would say about this game. I mean, Asmir Begovic, he's got to be older than my dad. I mean,
how old is he? How old is he, Ben?
My dad?
No, Jay.
well,
let's not be ageist about this. Put
me in a bit of a spot now, and I've said that. My old man is. He's going to be watching this. He's nearly 63. Is my old man.
Jay Begovic can't be 63.
Yes, it's called a joke, Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
And what I would also say is that any team that wears a disgusting pink away shirt like Leicester did deserves to lose a game of football. So I'll leave that. It's a horrible shirt. That anyway. What will West Brom wear at? Is it going to be the green and?
It's going to be the green and yellow.
Yeah,
green and yellow.
Yeah. That's not my favourite either, I must admit. So, but they go to St Andrews on Tuesday night. I mean, Kim, myself, and John were at the reverse fixture at the Hawthorns back in November. It was a very competitive 1-1 draw. I would probably say, with the benefit of hindsight, West Brom were just at the start of their bad run, which ended up seeing Ryan Mason sacked and Eric Ramsey come in. But there was no hint of or a suggestion that Ryan Mason was in any real danger back then. Kim, what kind of game are we going to see at St Andrews on Tuesday night?
Oh, good question. Well, I am sure that Mr. Ramsey, you haven't got the jingle ready, have you?
No, it's a different show. No, for those who don't know, we do a different show where we try and predict some football scores for a different radio station. And you forced me into this now. We have this. The running gag is that Eric Ramsey sounds like he should be a character in Neighbours, not a football manager. So every time somebody mentions Eric Ramsey's name, that jingle comes in. So all you've got to do is say Eric Ramsey.
Yeah, that's it.
And there we go. So that's extra editing for me to do later now. Thank you very much for that, Kim. It's all the old cliches, isn't it? It's a leveler, form goes out the window, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I think Blues fans, you can be confident, can't you?
You would hope so. I'm sure we're going to see lots of men behind the ball and low blocking going on, because I'm sure that's what the West Brom team will be told to do. They will be told to try and stop us getting forward, particularly if they'd had a look at any of the videos of Osman from yesterday, because he now provides a huge attacking threat for Blues on the left and Vicente on the opposite side. So I think it's going to be about stopping Blues playing.
At the start of the transfer window on Ed Mackay's brilliant window of opportunity, we said that Blues were looking for a midfield general, somebody who could take the game by the scruff of the neck. We've identified that now as John Solis, who has come in. Uh, will he be the key factor in the middle of the park if he plays on Tuesday? Is that who West Brom are going to have to get to grips with?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Solly's played most of the game with Doyle coming on later, because Doyle's played so many games lately. I think he was dropped to give him a bit of a rest, and I'm assuming Chris Davis will start Solly's on Tuesday night. And also Solis gives Peck a bit more freedom to roam. But yeah, I think that the doubt we've got is whether or not Phil Neumann will be okay, because he went off looking not very happy. So whether we have Jonathan Panzo in for Tuesday night for a debut, I'm not sure. It depends how Neumann's going to be. But I'm assuming we won't see many changes to the team Chris Davis put out on Saturday.
Thanks for that, Kim. And John, I dare say you'll take a 0-0 at Blues if you're offered it.
Well, if offered, yeah, we'll definitely.
Well, I'm not in a position to offer you anything.
No.
I'm not in control of the game.
But if it looks like, because we know how good Birmingham have been this season at St Andrews, if the game is going to be a 0-0, then we'd probably take that. But I think the Albion fans will want the team to take inspiration from the better performance against Stoke and push to the next level, because the next level to me is obvious. We got to go for that first win under Eric Ramsey. And there we go. And yeah, it's one of those. I mean, Birmingham might not see many changes to their lineup, but I think there's going to be rotation yet again. Because in the midfield, we've got like Moat, Malumbi, Ousmane Diakite as well. And who's going to be the striker? Will it be Hegebo? Will it be Maja? And now that he started the last game, will it be Daryl DK? So I think we might keep the Blues players guessing right up until that team lineup is announced before kickoff.
Okay, and presumably going forward to the weekend, I don't think West Brom are overly concerned with an FA Cup tie away at Norwich, because priorities are now staying in the Championship. But for Blues, it's a noon kickoff against Dirty Leeds, and Paddy's going to be at that one along with Kim. I mean, you go back to the fourth round last year. That cup tie against Newcastle was a tremendous occasion for Blues, and the atmosphere was great. But Paddy, you looking forward to seeing Blues against Leeds on Sunday?
I am. Do you know what? I know it's an early kick-off, 12 o'clock, which people are complaining about, but I understand why it is, because of police concerns with the fans as such. But do you know what? I've got a feeling about this game. I really have and I shouldn't really say. I'm not gonna predict it, because I did it in the cup final. I got it all wrong. Kim will tell you. So I'm not saying anything, but I'm just looking forward to a good game. That's it. Full stop. And let Kim take over now.
Fine.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll pause. We'll take a break, because we've still got quite a lot to get through. Looking back at the weekend's action for our teams in the Premier League here on the Monday after.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
The Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio. Looking back at the weekend's action, we've looked ahead to the Blues Albion derby on Tuesday. But the Premier League now, we'll start with Wolves. They're still on 8 points, and we're pretty much blown away by Chelsea in the first half. Cole Palmer with 2 penalties and a really good finish, getting himself a first half hat-trick. And Paddy, I mean, you were at Wolves last week for the game against Bournemouth, weren't you? And it's the general consensus is that they've improved, that they're showing more spirit now with Rob Edwards. I just feel the last couple of weeks, those nothing kind of performances are coming back with them. That led to eventually the sacking of Vitor Pereira. They've had that kind of bounce. They've now lost Strand Larsen. Well, they've taken the money, and I don't blame them. What Crystal Palace was offering them. There's still not much there, though, is there?
And they've lost like Agbadu as well. They've just lost him as well now.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're right. I think last week when I watched them, the first 20 minutes they played the ball around, but they started to lose the ball quite a bit, and they couldn't hit, and their striker couldn't hit a barn door. And then, to be fair, but Bournemouth very impressive, and I've said this again after the Villa game yesterday. But they took charge in the midfield, and they got the two chances, which were brilliant. And that was it. And like you've just said, Ben, quite right. The words you're saying. Nothing performances. Yeah, load of running about, give the ball away, and then lose. And that's it, really. And it's a shame for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're a great club, Midlands football, as we say. And like you say, nothing really, Ben. They're heading downwards and heading into the Championship. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah, they are. Jonathan Wimbush, how long since you were at Molineux? Months now.
The 6-1 win against Shrewsbury in the last round of the FA Cup. That was the last time.
That don't count. A proper game.
Well, it hasn't been. It hasn't been this calendar year. I know that.
So putting two together here.
Yeah.
Agent Wimbush.
They may need Agent Wimbush back.
Indeed. Probably.
Yes. You in a way you feel for the fans. I mean, they're still turning up in their numbers, 28,000 for the remainder of the season. They're not. Well, there have been kind of protests, but they haven't been leaving en masse. They are sticking with them as best as they possibly can, and it's all about Rob Edwards keeping the nucleus of the squad together as best as he can for a tilt at the Championship next season. But as Paddy said, he saw Bournemouth last week win at Molineux, and Bournemouth were in action against one of our teams on Saturday. 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. And I don't advocate a kind of bullying culture or being overly aggressive about things, but football brings out a kind of a raw emotion in you. And I think I put in BHB and WhatsApp group that had I been in charge of Aston Villa, I would have had Luca Digne by his neck up against the wall in the changing room after the game against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Because that's and Ensign was following the game with me in the studio. That level of non-defending Ensign is just not acceptable.
It bordered unprofessional without a shadow of a doubt, and it was just the way it was just so strange, because if he makes an attempt to tackle, it certainly puts the striker's mind at some doubt to think, can I get through? He just stood and did nothing, absolutely nothing.
I would,
and if I was a goalkeeper, I would have rang his neck. So
I would rather Digne have stuck his foot out, tripped him up, given away a penalty, and possibly got sent off.
He didn't do anything. That's
nothing.
Frustrating. He did absolutely nothing. He just stood there
and let him walk through,
take the strike.
And this is the young Brazilian lad, isn't it? Who they've already Bournemouth slapped a £100 million release clause on his contract, so they've got high hopes for him. Morgan Rogers, Paddy, Villa a one-man team.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? That's the feeling I get, Ben. I don't know if you'll disagree or not disagree with me, but he's carried Villa, I think, all season. I know you got the other industrious players in the midfield, as you said, they're missing them, but I think he's been the player of the season so far, hasn't he, Morgan Rogers, in my view? But I think he's carrying this team and winning the game for them, and that's my view at the moment, Ben. I might be wrong.
I don't disagree. No, I don't disagree in terms of how important he has been. And generally, if I hear If I hear managers say, "Oh, we're down to the bare bones," or "We've got a lot of injuries," I just tune out. I'm not interested in
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses in terms of injuries. And you'll never actually, to his credit, you'll never hear Unai Emery say it either. But if you take John McGinn, Boubacar Kamara, and Yuri Tillemans out of that midfield, you are going to be weaker. That's a fact. And Douglas Luiz has come back to the club and played these first two games back when he's probably not up to speed. Onana's in and out of the team because he picks up niggling little injuries, and Ross Barkley's only coming back to full fitness now. So you've got Premier League level replacements, but your star trio in midfield all missing for a considerable amount of time. Boubacar Kamara is out for the season. Enton, it's going to have an effect, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because the levels that he plays at, he's the player to play at the highest level of football. I just want to come quickly back to Morgan Rogers and just say the young man has stepped up this year, and he's shown his ability to a worldwide audience now. So he's got it. But again, he's been relied upon just for him now to take that mantle, and maybe he'd obviously having those injuries in midfield. Maybe it's like, well, it's not just his responsibility, is it? Like, so the more he gets in the limelight, the more work he's putting in, and again, it would seem that that's why it's a one-man show. But like you said, it with those injuries out in midfield. What I like about the fact that he has stepped up.
Two things that we need to pick out for praise, just so that we are fair and balanced. I don't know if I know Enton's seen it because I saw it with him on social media on Saturday afternoon. Clearance off the line underneath the crossbar from Ezri Konsa in the first half was out of this world. And a save from Emi Martinez, similar to Donnarumma's save actually in the Liverpool Man City game that we've just seen. Top draw, and they always say if you can't win a game, make sure you don't lose it, and I think that's the way it's worked out for Villa. Getting ready to watch Liverpool City earlier, having watched the first game between Brighton and Palace, my heart sank when they announced the statistic that Brighton have won 1 in the last 12 in the Premier League. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, Dr. Villa will see you now, Brighton, because they're coming to Villa Park on Wednesday night, and and I'm going to be there. I don't know. A month ago, I'd have said they'll smash them. I think it's for sure now. Anybody can comment on this if they want.
I agree with you, Ben. I think is there a slide now? Losing to Brentford and dropping points at Bournemouth. Is there a slide now, like you said, with the injuries coming in? You know what happens with momentum, with confidence? Like you said, I'm a big fan of Aston Villa this year. Remember, I actually got them a couple of weeks ago to win compete with Arsenal to win the league, and that momentum's dropped off now. And yeah, we know what's behind you guys now in the league. Our guys as well are coming up there now. But I'm wondering. But again, that's a good stat, isn't it? To play a team with that stat, with Brighton not winning, it could be a 3 points to get Villa back onto it again. Do you think?
Yeah. And then Newcastle in the FA Cup on Saturday evening. I was looking at it, and these injuries, and as I say, they're not excuses, but looking at the depth of the squad, 12 games left in the Premier League. If Villa are serious about winning the Europa League, that's another 7 games they're going to have to play if they're going to win the Europa League, and potentially another 4, 5, 6, semi-final. Yeah, another 5. If they're going to win the FA Cup or go far in the FA Cup, that's potentially another 5 games. So 12 Premier League games, another 12 Cup games between now and the end of the season. And you think, well, when you say it like that, yeah, and Newcastle, Eddie Howe's under pressure at Newcastle. There's no doubt about that. Having gone out of the Carabao Cup to Man City and losing to Brentford on Saturday, they're going to want to salvage something from this season, because realistically, they're not going to win the Champions League. So it's going to be tough on Saturday night in the FA Cup. There's no doubt about that. But I'll be honest, as I say, whoever is in charge of these things, if you'd said to me, you'll finish in the top 5 if fifth place gets you the Champions League, and you'll win a trophy, either the FA Cup or the Europa League, I'm happy with that if that's the season. And particularly for the first 5 games, have you not even scored a goal in those first 5 games? To think where they are now is actually quite remarkable. But next weekend we'll talk all about it once the FA Cup action is done and dusted. And Kim, can I just come to you, because I don't think it should be always up to me to make these announcements. Could you possibly share with our audience this coming Valentine's weekend a special event with BHBN?
Yes, BHBN are doing a radiothon, 39 hours continuous broadcast from the station over February the 14th and 15th. We'll be doing sports and music on Saturday afternoon 2 till 5, and then Blues v Leeds will be featured around the wards on Sunday lunchtime. So join us if you can.
Absolutely. Excellent. And all of our content, the highlights from the matches, the team news and full-time videos that we post on our YouTube and TikTok channel. We also actually doing the show on Saturday from inside the BHBN studio, which got an interesting reaction, if I'm honest. But it is all there. But we've been doing the maths on this. Since we launched the YouTube and TikTok channels at the back end of October, we have gone through 200,000 views with that content. So unless there are 400,000 eyes looking at them, that isn't possible. So we say thank you very much indeed for that. Monday After Back next Monday, as Kim said, back 2:00 on Saturday afternoon with some great music as part of the Valentine's Day Radiothon and the coverage of
Birmingham Sports
Ben
Ellis.
Jonathan Woodward, Kim Smith, I'm Ben Ellis, and this has been the Monday After.